We're live now. Okay.
It looks like it should be good, but I just like to check on with. I've gotten dinged a few times with it not actually. So just want to make sure we're. Yep, we're good.
Okay, so I'll call the meeting to order at 6:05, Wednesday, December 1st. Happy December, everybody. Happy almost Christmas, 24 days. Woohoo. I don't think we had any regrets, did we, Trish? Nope. So we have there's Dustin. Dustin's just arrived. So we have all members present except for one. No regrets have been received before the meeting. Everyone had a chance to look at the agenda, so I'll just get a quick confirmation of the agenda. Mover and a seconder. I'm going to start picking. Bert, Dustin. All right, everyone in favor? No additions or changes? Everything good? All right. Anybody find themselves conflicted pecuniary interest? Just let me know as we go along, unless you know something right off the hop. Does anybody have anything they'll need to excuse themselves for? That's okay. If you find yourself in a pickle, you can just let me know as we go along. Did everyone have a chance to read the minutes of the November 3rd meeting? Any additions, deletions, changes, updates? All right, we'll have a mover and a seconder for that too. Steve and Heather, all in favor? The minutes, accepting the minutes? Perfect. All right, quick business arising. The speakers, nope. What do you? Okay, yeah, no, sorry, I thought you wanted to make an addition there. Trish was waving at me. Yeah, I was just going to say we haven't really gotten too much farther on that. Things are just a little bit busy for everybody right now, but we are going to pursue a cost analysis and some more information on the speakers. So if everybody's okay with that, we're just going to bump that to our January meeting. Okay. Justin, you're up. Justin from Economic Development Officer, Perth County. I'm not sure if everybody's had an opportunity over the last year or so to meet Justin. He covered for Meredith while she was off, but looks like we have the pleasure of your company tonight for your update. Looking forward to it. So the floor is yours.
Excellent. Thank you. So through the chair, yes, it's a pleasure to finally be able to attend. I know had been involved with providing updates through Ashley, but happy to attend myself and present an update tonight. So I know it was I believe it was circulated with minutes or with the agenda. So I'll just kind of quickly touch on a few key points just to bring that to the committee's attention. Obviously, with this being the holiday season around Christmas time and everybody doing their Christmas shopping, really want to obviously drive people towards making those purchases locally. You may have seen our most recent winter campaign being launched on social media, encouraging folks to shop local. And this year, we're encouraging folks to give the gift of experiences as well through our Discover More Adventures experiential tourism program that you may have seen through our social media. So there's lots of great businesses, great experiences that you can give for a later date to those on your list this year. There is a workshop going on tomorrow night. There is one also tonight, that was this morning, but there's one going on tomorrow night to help businesses really hone their experiences, but find out how they can add experiences to their repertoire, if that's something that they're looking to do, and really kind of benefit and learn from those folks who've gone through this first year Discover More Adventures experience development and figure out whether that's a viable part of their business for the go-forward basis. So that workshop is going on tomorrow night from 6 to 7:30. Again, it's online. There was a link in the agenda packet if you want to register. I'm sure that there's still room if you are interested in joining that. I did want to also mention our Perth County Business Open House. We're calling it Discover More Resilience, which is next Tuesday. We've got 2 sessions, 10 to 2 and 4 to 8. These are drop-in sessions. So really, we didn't want to, given COVID, we haven't been able to meet with our businesses for the last 20 months. But there's still, we've shared resources online and been able to send stuff out, but there really hasn't been an opportunity to put stuff in businesses' hands for them to take away and kind of digest. So that's what we're hoping to do next Tuesday at the Mitchell Golf Club, so close to in West Perth. Again, it's a drop-in event. Drop in, grab some resources, some information for you to take home and really start to plan for your 2022 and how we can support you as economic development and tourism for Perth County. So encourage you to drop in if you can. Again, 10 to 2 or 4 to 8 next Tuesday at the Municipal Golf Club. Wanted to also remind folks that the Digital Service Squad is still active in Perth County. So I know many businesses in West Perth have taken advantage. There still is lots of time to do so. I know the grant for the digital transformation program had closed yesterday. So those who are in the pipeline now will have their applications evaluated, but that kind of part of the program is closed, but there still is lots of opportunity for businesses to access our Digital Service Squad. Eileen is our team member who can support businesses in one-on-one training for helping them get their social media set up, helping them improve their website, helping them incorporate e-commerce into their operations, help connect them to Digital Main Street, the main network there, to get a free Shop Here website developed, or even just do a digital assessment with you, or come down to your business and take 360-degree photos for your Google My Business account or for whatever need you might have. So really valuable service that's still available until the end of February. Encourage you to reach out to Eileen if you want to just have her have a look at your digital presence and see ways that she can help you improve that. A couple other things, I guess we do have some packages available for businesses who are, if you have commuter employees or employees who are coming from outside of the area, we're trying to help bridge that gap. If they're, for example, they're coming in to work, in the workplace during the day and they leave during the evening, they may not know all that there is to see and do in Perth County. So these packages are really to help broaden their horizons beyond the workplace about what Perth County can offer to their families, whether it be for tourism, for recreation, some information about PC Connect and how they can use that to help get to their place of work. So really, if there are businesses who have those employees in that situation where they're either new to the area or are currently commuting and they want to share those information packages, to please do reach out, and we're happy to provide those to employers to distribute to employees. I guess I'll touch on briefly, our Welcoming Communities training is still available. So again, a series of three workshops online that can help you, become more welcoming and are free of charge to any employer within Perth County. And then maybe I'll just lastly mention our triage BRNE studies. Many of you may have received a phone call over the last couple of months as part of our business retention expansion program. A really opportunity for us to hear directly from businesses to find out what are the key pinch points and really help us with our 2022 programming. So again, I want to thank all the businesses that participated and look forward to presenting those results to County Council tomorrow and then sharing them with the more broader community after that. So that's really it for me, and happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Okay, does anybody have any, thanks for that, Justin. Anybody have any questions? Anything you want to ask or pick his brain about? Okay. You're welcome to stay for all of our meeting, but don't feel like you have to if you don't want to. So we try to put you at the beginning. So but you're welcome to stay. Not sure how exciting we are, Justin, but thank you for that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Sorry, I just lost my agenda here. Hold on. There we go. Jeff Brick, Municipal Update.
Hi, thank you very much, Chair Bell. I have a few municipal updates I'll give. I want to mention that a couple of these are very similar to the updates we gave to Economic Development Committee at their meeting on November 17th, and I apologize if you've seen them there. I try to restrict the updates to the committees that they're relevant to, and for various reasons, the sort of economic well-being of West Perth from an economic development standpoint is very similar to the BIA's interests, so I often end up giving these to both. So although they have a slightly different spin sometimes. So first of all, I want to mention that on the development activity side, we think BIA is interested in this because of the making you aware that we've got our eye on the ball of trying to get more diverse development. We're trying to get more lot stock on the market and more diversity in that lot stock in terms of not just single families, but semis and duplexes and quads, and really advocating very hard with developers as we meet with them about our desperate need for apartment buildings. So I want the committee or the BIA members to know that that's on our radar. If you have suggestions or advice, or if you have business people that are talking about wanting to acquire land or become a builder in Mitchell, and they're serious about trying to find a place and build an apartment building, I would make it a priority to have a conversation with them, because it's a desperate need that we have in our community. So I just want to mention that. Secondly, and kind of on a related topic, I do have some good news that the Avco development, which is the St. David Street proposal for 39 apartment units targeted at seniors, that was caught up in litigation at the LPAT, the land planning. Oh my God, I should know this. Anyway, it's a tribunal for land planning disputes. It's terrible that I don't know the name of that, but I don't know the acronym name right now. I can't think of it. In any event, we had a couple of meetings to talk about potentially resolving it. Those meetings turned out to be fruitful. The municipality's lawyer, we were still involved, and we managed to coordinate a conversation with the appellant and the applicant, found some common ground, and that led to a settlement being filed for a slightly different proposal, but still within the main the main spirit of the zoning bylaw. The tribunal was charged with the ability to make the decision, and so they were able to hear from both sides and hear from a professional planner that it was good planning, and that decision has been approved. So the zoning is in effect. It will allow a 3-story single building with 42 units. It still is subject to site plan, and I think it's important for BIA because the number of supply of housing we have in the community is important to job markets for retailers, small retailers, as much as it is industrial clients. So this update's been given to both committees, and it's a good news update because while it's seniors targeted housing, when it gets built and we have those homeowners that are perhaps overhoused, they're in a house bigger than they would want and would like to go to an apartment, we in theory will have those 42 houses or some number close to that come onto the market, which will help our market tremendously. So it's a little bit at a time, right? Third, I want to mention the Ontario Road Resurfacing project. We did have the intention of paving, and this project was one that got added late because of the way the grant worked. We got it tendered and got it onto a project, a consultant, we got it tendered and got it onto a contractor's list. We ran into a bit of a delay getting locates, which everyone's running into. But we did get that eventually, and the plan was to pave on Monday, November 22nd. And many of you will have noticed that at the very last minute on the Friday before, based on the weather forecast and the proposal from the contractor, we actually paved on the Saturday. And that very last minute decision came with some consequences as far as being able to get out in front of really good communications. But it frankly came down to, if we didn't pave that day, we were not getting it done. And if we didn't get it done, we lose $500,000 in provincial grant that if you don't get it this year, you may not get it next year. There's an election coming and a lot of unknowns. So we had to reach back and do it. I give Mike Kramer a tremendous amount of credit. He got it done, and I know there was a bit of disruption that day. But once they got it running, I think they kind of smoothed out that paving operation, and it turned out to be a very good job. I want to mention that the recreation programming has been very good, mainly just to say that, we're trying to offer good recreation programming to attract young families that we want to make their home in West Perth and in Mitchell, and to come to our community center and arena and experience good recreational opportunities. We know that that's what attracts young families, and we know that also is what helps us to retain our youth so they don't leave our community. So we've been really putting a lot of emphasis on that and keep going. and had really good uptake in everything. For example, you may not be aware, but the YMCA didn't run the summer camp programs this year, West Perth did. And we had good uptake in those programs, and we can intend to continue that because the Y is not going to run it. And we think it's a very important part of the offering of services for our West Perth residents. The budget cycle has started. And so we did the budget. Operating budget will come for BIA. We'll bring that to you probably as a draft in January or February. We'll ask you to approve it at your AGM. You know, you could start to think about what the board would like to get in the budget. We did go to council with capital projects last week, and I can say that we're anticipating about the same amount of capital as in previous years. And capital and operating are projected to be roughly the same. So we don't anticipate a big tax increase, but it's hard to tell until we get the budgets all the way together. But I would think that you'll see something in the order of what we've seen in the last 2 years, which has been very modest and almost not as much as inflation. And we're through kind of our major OMPF cuts. We do lose $90,000, I think it is this year. So we do have to find a way to absorb that, but we'll continue to work on keeping the tax increase low. And the other one thing I want to mention to the BIA is that included in the budget pre-approval was for capital projects. We had a capital project to replace the operations, the screen and the software for the sign. And so we'll have a much higher quality screen resolution for the town sign at the corner of 23 and Huron/Ontario Road, because that's right where it changes over. That sign will have better flexibility in terms of programming and better ability for it to be more stable, because we've been having trouble with it as far as keeping it going. It will have a new screen in it, and we'll also have a better ability to change the programming on it from the office rather than having to go out and manually plug in a 2010 laptop to it, because that's the only laptop it can communicate with. It's not able to handle newer versions of Windows. So we've kept with it up till now, but it's time for a replacement. And we see it as a very important tool to communicate to downtown patrons. And I hope the BIA is pleased that we're keeping that in our arsenal. And I think it'll actually become more of a communications tool with a better sign. So on the procurement of the flowers, Darcy, Cook, Daniel, Hobson, and myself have each done a little bit of work on this, but the three of us need to get together and nail down the procurement. We haven't been able to get a chance where the three of us can work on this. There's been lots of demands on the three of our time, but we have it on our list, and I expect we'll get to it soon, because we want to get it out there and that the greenhouses have an opportunity to grow the plants that they're successful on whichever greenhouse is successful. And we need to get that done. And I think leaving it much longer is getting awkward. So we're on it, but it's not done. And finally, I want to mention to this committee as a committee of council that you will have received an email from me earlier this week that council passed a policy, a COVID-19 policy that is applicable to staff, council, committees, and volunteers. And the policy is very pragmatic. We were required to pass a policy for recreation staff, and that policy was passed. Council directed administration to prepare a policy for all staff, and then council and committees and volunteers. For all intents and purposes, there's not a lot of impact on this committee because your committee at this point in time is meeting virtually, and the policy explicitly indicates that virtual opportunities will be provided for meetings. So I don't think anything changes, but I would just mention to you that if you're planning any events, to consider that we would need to put them through the lens of that policy. And so if you're planning any in-person events, but I expect in the near term, and given the news from the last week, that we're likely going to keep the activities of this committee, like all of the other committees, virtual for some time. So that's my updates. I apologize that it took a bit of time, but I think there's lots going on, and I'm happy to answer any questions or about those updates or any others that people are asking about.
Okay, anybody have anything for Jeff? Fire away.
So the flowers, Jeff, are you picking the flowers then, or what are
No.
you and Darcy and?
No, what we have to do is, the request of the committee was that we procure the flowers, that we put it out for a, we ask for proposals or ask for prices from other greenhouses and select one, and that we specify specifically what we're asking for so that they can provide us a price back, and then we'll bring that procurement package back to BIA.
Okay,
All right.
so what are you asking for? Do you know?
Well, Darcy's pulled the invoice from last year, and actually I'm happy to get some input from the BIA on this, because I think this question is going to come up, and I was going to have to call Sherry and ask. But the question, and I'm going to be delicate about how I handle this, but so we can't just procure because we want to change off operators or change suppliers. You procure following procurement practices to go out and get a price for a service rendered. Because of the amount of money we spend, it falls within our requirement to at least receive 3 quotes. It's good practice to go back every few years and re-quote the work to make sure you're getting what you want. And it's a good time when you re-quote the work to be more specific about what you want or don't want in the future, so that the price you gets you what you want, or what you ask for is more in line with what you want, especially if you've been experiencing that what you've been getting isn't what you want. So we can go back and look at last year's order and describe it. And but then we have to put that, it's not as easy as it used to be, where we can call the greenhouse and say, we just want what you gave us last year. Now we have to describe specifically what that is and have them give us a price so we can analyze their quote. And we have to ask 3 when we re-procure.
Okay, that's fine.
So I'm happy to continue on that mission. And I think we've been directed by the BIA that you want that done. But I want to make sure if there's anything that you really want changed, that we can include in that procurement. So, colors are always tricky. And I think we often get compared to Lucan as far as what Lucan has. But if you want what Lucan has, you have to basically have a retired former employee who makes it their mission to look after it, because it's big maintenance. And so I guess I'm just asking you if anyone has if you have any feedback about what you'd like us to ask for in addition to what we've been getting, or in place of what we've been getting.
Well, I think the only, I don't want to say criticism, but the only suggestion I would have with that, the hanging baskets need to be bigger. That's.
Okay. All right.
And flowers in the planters instead of
Greenery.
coleus
Okay.
and sweet potato vine seems to be all we get.
Okay.
That's
All right.
what I was going to say too, was the baskets, the hanging baskets need to be fuller.
Yeah.
I watched ours all summer. They look great. Don't get me wrong. They're not dead. They're growing.
Yeah.
But even by the end of the year, we're not even half as big as what some of these other towns are. Like even go through Granton, a little place like Granton.
Granton's great. Yeah. That's always been my envy.
Yeah. And I know it depends on budget. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the grower, maybe it's the fertilizer that we're using, or the other company or other towns use. And two, with the planters, we need color in them, not just greenery.
Yeah.
Good. And one limitation we have is we should only go 18 inches above the height of the pot, which we've been doing pretty good. And that's this is the pots on the street for the pedestrian, the fact that they become a pedestrian barrier if they get to it. They're already a pedestrian barrier, but 18 inches is the limit that vegetation is supposed to grow. So we'll be putting that in specification as well.
Yeah.
All right.
I have,
Need more
I have
color.
something,
Yeah.
quick, Jeff, that's not really BIA related, but just because I have you here and I know I'm going to forget because I should have said something on Monday. It was brought to my attention that on our West Perth website, the banners that go across, one is on our vaccination policy and it is actually outdated. So there was a
Okay.
little struggle at the arena this weekend because a team read it. And on it, it says individuals who are 18 years of age who are entering the recreation facility used for sports solely for the activity of participating are exempt, and that is no longer the case,
Okay,
right? So that just needs a
I'll
little
talk to
update. That's
the-
got nothing to do with BIA, but
I'll ask the webmaster to review the video and make sure that we are compliant. So that
yeah,
input
that, I was
is,
gonna say, that little piece was the case. I do believe this little banner went on, what does it say, September 22nd, and that was the case at that point. And now for our recreation facilities, that's no longer the case.
yeah, you're exactly right. If it's still running, we got to get rid of it, and that's very good. Thanks very much. That's
Okay, yeah,
sometimes
again, it's not
hard to
BIA,
see
but
it. Yeah.
it's not BIA, but I knew that if I didn't say something, I'd forget. Okay,
It's like
Anything
editing, you
else?
know, you look at
Yeah.
it so often, you don't see the mistakes. So good, very good. Thank you.
I have another question for Jeff, and it's more economic development, and I have missed the last couple of meetings there, unfortunately. With the, what is it, the Heron Business Park, there's no activity out there. Is anybody inquiring about land, or I thought we're supposed to be going ahead with a groundwater pond, or whatever you call it, collection pond, and
Yep.
is any activity, because activity creates activity, I think.
Yeah, I can give you a quick update. So we sold and it's good for BIA to know these numbers as well. So we sold about 4 acres to Hogsflat and Hogsflat built that. That's in the Heron Business Park. In the last 3 months, I'd say it's about 3 months ago, we sold, I think it closed in September. We sold 6 acres to a company called Ellis Holdings, which will be, I understand they're in the business of concrete batching and precast, and they have an operation currently in Sebringville, and you can probably figure out that Ellis Holdings is the holding company name for the business on the main street of Sebringville on the north side next to Nunes. And so understand that they intend to consolidate their operations in Mitchell on the 6-acre parcel that they purchased. Ellis Holdings now owns the land, and we're working with them. Are they working on a site plan submission for us? We can't sell any more of the 58 acres. So we've got 48 left. We can't sell any more until we can get a joint stormwater management facility for the land on the north side of Frank, which is the next phase. And to do that really efficiently, we want to work with Cargill Limited. So we've done a detailed design. We're ready, and we've been attempting to negotiate with Cargill Limited. We've had limited success, and really the benefit to both of us is huge. And so we intend to insist on that conversation before we abandon it, because if we abandon a shared facility with Cargill Limited, we have to build in a spot on our property that will eliminate their opportunities in the future to ever have rail access to that property, which would be a huge loss. And so really there is a large mutual benefit, and we're essentially in negotiation mode, which needs to begin with a first conversation. And we're just having a little difficulty getting responses to our requests. So I will advise you that that's very much on council's radar. And it's very important for the economic well-being of Mitchell and West Perth. And I would say even the area, because we could sell those lots, but we want to try to take our time and do it with the right partner to do it right. So that's the stage we're at. We're all ready to go and raring to go. We have it designed. We now need to discuss land. And it's a very small amount of land we need.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm glad. I don't very often give that update to this group, so I'm glad you asked, because it's a good piece of information for BIA as well, for all the reasons you mentioned and what I said earlier about, you know, the economic well-being of the community is also important to downtown for sure. So.
Okay. there's nothing more for Jeff. Well, thank you for your report and your answers, and we'll do a quick financial update from Trish. Trish is going to go right into her coordinator report as soon as the financials are done.
Okay, perfect, everyone. So this is our financial report in front of us. So I know Steve did bring up a few questions last month, so I just want to touch base on some of those items first, because I did have a lengthy conversation with the treasurer just to get some more clarification for us. So the columns that we're most concerned about, okay, let me back up, sorry. This report comes out of the municipality's accounting program. So because they don't have a separate accounting program for the BIA, because all of our books and everything runs through their system, our reports are going to look a little funny to us because we don't need all this extra detail. But on a basis of like parks or the rec department, or each department needs a report that looks like this. So we have a little bit extra information that I wouldn't say we don't care about, but we don't really need it. So our main focus is to look at the total budget column is the budget that we agreed to at our AGM every year. And then the column under current year to date actual, this is what we've actually spent or earned in revenue. This difference column, with the variance column that we had pointed out last month, it's got negative numbers because what this report does, and it's again for the municipal departments, is on a monthly or quarterly basis, they have certain targets that they have to hit. So the variance column would show how far they are on or off target for that month or that quarter. So we just really need to focus on column 3 and column 6 in the end. And then when I go down to the bottom, so this number has gone up since last meeting. It's now 33 million and change. Last meeting it was 19. What it is the program is actually giving it's a percentage. So Wendy had figured out which numbers it was making a percentage from, and I apologize, I didn't write that piece down, but again, it's not really a concern to us. However, it is forming a percentage, but it shows that we're in the positive. So again, like this is our surplus so far for 2021, $6,611.61. And this is a percentage that we don't really need to pay attention to. I know it is kind of confusing, but again, we're working off of the same accounting system as the municipality. So some things we'll just have to, and I can blank it out too. If it's cumbersome to the board, I can alter this report to blank that out. The second page that we had looked at, again with a few questions, was basically it shows our total revenue, total expenses, and then this is we're sitting to the good right now. So we have a surplus of 6611.61. So this again is where we're sitting thus far, but the municipality hasn't closed out 2020 yet either. So this number could potentially be affected. I don't really have anything to report on the actual budget. There is going to be more allocations to our advertising because we've ran, I believe it's about 2,300, 2,500 with the Advocate. I didn't know the invoice for the printing of the BIA bucks typically was allocated incorrectly. It used to get thrown into our 5% budget line, which is why we were over in past years. So I put it under advertising, but it hasn't been paid yet, so you're not seeing it, but I'm hoping that allocation's okay. If it's not, can somebody please maybe raise a hand and flag me down if that's not okay? Okay. And then I have a couple more expenses to come in, but I had emailed the board about the cost to get our light standard wraps across the border. It was an added cost that wasn't part of the quote, but it was part of the presentation. So that was about $34 and change. The wraps are here at the municipal office, but due to the weather, they recommend that they get installed when it's about 10 degrees or warmer. They just adhere better to the pole. So I don't believe they're going to get installed this year. This report here, so again, Steve, you were looking for our surpluses. Well, the board has, but Steve mentioned it last month, pardon me. So I had finance go back and pull back to 2017 so we could kind of see back a couple years, because again, 2020 has not been closed. The municipality is working on closing that year end. So this report here shows our revenues, expenses, and then we've basically had a profit for 17, 18, 19. Again, 2020 is not closed yet, so we are showing a bit of a loss right now. And then this would be the impact on the reserve. So again, this money has been put into our reserve. And then based on the accounting system, I believe I'm saying this correctly, these are all negatives because the money is going into a reserve for us. So that's why they're showing up as negative numbers. She has done a estimated balance of our reserve of $40,566.98. Again, that's not having 2020 closed. And that would be if we had no more expenses for 2021, which is not the case because there's still quite a bit to come. So our current reserve is sitting at $33,955.37. So that's a pretty plentiful reserve. I know we have a couple projects that we were talking about maybe looking at doing. We also want to be cautious of making sure that there's money there that if anything ever did happen and we needed that backup funds, there's still some money sitting there. So that's kind of our surplus from 2017 to date. Is there any questions on the financial or this surplus report?
Only thing that I would say is BA members, we should come up with some big project we want to spend this money on. That's for sure. And you can see right there, the last of the screen where it says estimated balance at November 30th, 2022, probably supposed to be 2021. Right?
Oh, yep. Yep, she has a typo there.
Yeah, typo there. Other than that, I'm good.
Yeah. And again, with that estimate, it's like 2020 hasn't closed yet. And that would be if we had no more expenses coming in, but yet there is still some for advertising. And I think we'll have some giveaways under community involvement to account for. So I think that looks pretty good. I think that we've got a very healthy reserve. And if these speakers are pursued and they come out of that, that'll help take some away. But I think you always want to keep a little bit there in case anything ever happened. So if there's no more questions about that, then I can move into my report. Okay, so the BIA Bucks program. So the program is up and going beautifully at the credit union. I'm not sure if they've had any redemptions come in yet, but I can tell you that within 4 days of the program starting at the credit union, they sold over $3,500 in BIA Bucks. So I thought that was a very wealthy number for only being down there for 4 days. I didn't get an update for the meeting. I apologize. So I can get that and I'll email that out just so we can kind of decide if we want to extend the 10% off part of the program or not. Right now it's advertised to be done December 31st. So we'll see how sales go as we get near Christmas now. Also under BIA Bucks, I should mention too that we had an account at TD that was moved over to CIBC when the former treasurer was here. And so that money is where we would draw these reimbursements out of, or when people purchase BIA Bucks, the money would go in there. So currently they've done, the finance department has done a bit of a reconciliation, and the BIA, the easiest way to say it is the BIA owes money to the municipality, because when the municipality was looking after our program last year, the reimbursements, when people did EFT, that was coming out of the municipal bank account. And then I guess the transaction to put the money back in wasn't happening. So now they've done that reconciliation. And so we have a bank account of just over $18,000 at CIBC. And they're going to move the money over that's owed to them, which is a little over 17,000. And then the remainder of about 1,500 is going to go into our bank account at the credit union. It's really nothing to red flag. It's just some housekeeping that didn't get done while our 2020 program ran. So nothing to be afraid of. And then once those transactions are done, they're going to go ahead and close that bank account at CIBC because we'll have one at the credit union. So it won't be needed anymore. Any questions on BIA Bucks program? That's really all I have as an update.
Yeah, I have one for the redemption. We just take what we have over to the credit union?
Yep. So it's going to be the exact same redemption process as it was at TD again.
Okay.
Yep. So you'll take your BIA Bucks over and get your cash, and everybody will be content.
Thanks.
No problem.
I just did that this morning, Steve. No big deal.
Okay. Thanks, Bert.
Perfect.
Oh, back door though. Got to go in the back door.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
So
because of renovations, not because it's a backdoor transaction, but yes, they are renovating, and access is currently from the back door. So.
Okay, so for our street parties, so there's a full page ad in the Advocate today, which lists off everything that's happening at our street party. So we have, and some businesses that are participating. So we've got our Letters to Santa station, which I have advertised on Facebook. We are asking that they pre-write their letters this year and drop them off. We're going to have Heather set up downtown to collect those. So thank you, Heather, for volunteering to do that. Pre-written letters, drop them off, and then Santa, aka Sherry, will respond to them. So we've got that set up, and then we are doing, instead of the stamp passport where people would go into businesses that are open and get a stamp, we are going to do another box that'll sit with Heather. When people make a purchase between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. the night of our event, they're going to take their receipt and put their name and number on the back, and they can go drop it in this ballot box, and we're going to do a draw for BIA Bucks. I am not 100% sure that we talked about a dollar value on what that winnings was. So could we maybe set that tonight? Because I don't know if we talked about that. I don't have notes on it.
Okay.
I don't think we did.
Yeah, I don't think we did either. So I think maybe we set a value. We start the bidding at 50, 50, 75, 100. What are you guys' thoughts? It's a one-time. This isn't every time we do the gnome or the draws. This is just for the Friday night.
I'm saying
$300.
100. What'd you say, Steve?
$300.
Woo!
Oh.
So
And
for
we-
the draw?
Yeah, and we should have signage so that we can post to let people know where to drop these receipts off.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Something that all the stores can have,
Yeah.
right? And then that way, there's going to be a lot of store owners not going to know about this.
No, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay.
So are we really doing $300, or was that just a joke?
No,
Because we have two things to pay for. One is the Find the Gnome, just the Friday night Find the Gnome, and then the draw for the receipts. Okay. Well, anybody else want to discuss, or is everybody okay with $300 for the draw? Or
I thought 100, but I mean, if Steve thinks 300,
why don't we go in the middle then?
difference.
Call it two.
Sure. I'll make a motion that the draw be $200.
Yeah,
Okay,
200
that's the
works,
draw.
like it's enough to like get your attention, right? Where $100 might kind of be like, oh, whatever. Where like the 200-300 mark, that gives people a push to actually do it.
Okay.
that's a good point.
Someone else want to second that then for 200? Bert, and everybody's okay with 200? Perfect.
I
Okay,
have to
and
start
then
shopping so I can maybe get my name in that.
yeah,
Or are we
send your wife
excluded?
out. Send your wife. Nope, send your wife out. The more places they shop, the more receipts they get, the more times they get to enter. And then we're going to do a special Find the Gnome. There is a secret business that's already been notified that they're going to be holding the gnome that night. We're not going to talk about it right now because we're being recorded just in case somebody's watching. But there is a business that's been notified. They know they're going to have the gnome just for the Friday night. And there will be a draw in that store. Once they find the gnome, the draw will be the box will be right in that store, just to make things a little bit easier for them. So how much do we want to do for that draw? Normally the weekly gnome draw is $50, but we thought maybe we'd do a little smidge more for this one.
And how many, is this the first draw for the dome? Are we doing?
So this is completely separate to our
Oh.
Find the Gnome that we run each week. So just as another draw to get people out downtown, it was suggested that we hide a gnome for that night. And then anybody that finds it that night would, same process, get your name and number entered into the draw, but it's separate to our $50 a week. So we wouldn't be doing a $50 draw. We'll be doing
Right.
$100. I don't know. That's a
And-
number.
And they get this in BI dollars, right?
Yep.
I would say, what about 150?
Well, normally it's 50, so 100 doubles. So do you think that's enough for one night since we're giving $200 away in
I
the
think so.
other? Thoughts?
I was going to pitch $100 as a double for like doubling up what the weekly prize is, but completely up to you guys.
$100.
Okay, well, let's go with 100 for that. And then that gives us our $300 in giveaways on Friday night. We've just split it into two different sections. Okay.
And do you want to
Yes.
do a motion for
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
So I got Bert made that motion. Somebody want to second that for me? Anybody? Heather? And the gnome will be 100. Perfect. Okay. Anything else to add to the street party?
I still have my list.
Oh, sorry, you're not done.
That's
Pardon me.
okay. So we've also got the ranch is live on location from 4 till 7. I got the invoice today and they've given me a breakdown actually of the dates and times where they had our 15 or 30-second commercials. So that was kind of neat. I'm not sure if anybody was listening to 100.1, but we got
I
on
was.
there. Okay. Did you hear any of our commercials? Probably not.
No,
Okay.
but just depends when they were on. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we've got B&B Pet Supplies, Mitchell Office Pro, MMJ Asian Mart, Scotiabank, Tim Hortons, and Value Mart are all going to be, they're open. They've advertised something. I got word today that Walther's IDA is going to stay open as well, and they've got 20% off that night only. We've got the West Perth Youth Center is going to be open from 5 till 8 p.m. doing an open house. So I've been helping to promote that as well. We've got Value Mart's free hot dogs and the Coca-Cola Christmas truck. So that'll all be at the Garden Center as they need some extra space for that. So we don't want people running around on the street. And then the last one is, or two more, sorry, TLC Alpaca has confirmed they will be there from 5 till 8 p.m. They may leave a bit earlier. It just depends how long they want to stay there with their alpacas. And then the credit union, your neighborhood credit union, YNCU, sorry, got to get their new name. YNCU is going to be open from 4:30 to 6:30 selling BIA bucks for us. So that's typically what TD did in the past, was just to open an extra 2 hours. So that's kind of what's happening that night. I don't know if there's any questions, comments, concerns, anything I've missed.
Is that all posted on our website? So we go, or our Facebook page, we go on and share it and everything and push it out
Yep.
there?
So daily, there's 2 posts a day that are going out right now about the different like BIA events. I haven't specifically said like Scotiabank is giving away free hot chocolate. It's in the Advocate, but my plan for Friday was to do a big post kind of saying who's doing what, where everything is. Like the letters to Santa Station, for instance, that was brought up today. You know, should we maybe post the location? Well, we were going to hold off till Friday because we were still kind of working out site logistics. So my thought was Friday we would just make one post that's got everything listed of where it is and what's happening.
Where do you want the tents and the table? Are we still just let me know Friday morning so
I think that it would probably be in front of the old Johnny's Meat would be where I don't know why we have two, but definitely one tent and table I think is going to go in front of Johnny's old store.
Is that
well,
where
if
the
you got
garage
two, you
is
don't
setting
need
up?
both.
Sorry, Bert.
I'm just saying to have two, that way we got, if you need them, you got them versus
Sure.
not having.
Yep. And what'd you say, Steve? Sorry.
Is the ranch setting up in front of Johnny's?
I don't know where we want to have them. I wasn't sure if we wanted to put them at the two parking spots in front of the cenotaph where we used to have Santa and the reindeer, or if someone else has another idea.
They'll be
I'm
playing
open.
music?
I don't know if they're going to be playing music, but I know they're going to need hydro. So I know in past we have mooched hydro off of Bert store. So I don't know if he's willing to offer.
I have a standby generator as well if we need to, that I can use or they can use there that should power up what they're using.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be, it's relatively quiet, but if you have a long enough extension cord, we could hide it behind the cenotaph or something.
Okay.
Maybe Trish, since you've been in contact with them, can you reach out and see, or maybe you know the answer, are they bringing a tent of their own?
I'd have to ask. And same.
Yeah, I would assume so, that for shelter. I was just wondering, if we tucked them in the Hicks house in the corner, if they need shelter, or we have the other BIA tent if they do. But yeah, hydro is probably the main issue where we would put them.
And then same with, I guess, if they're playing music.
Extension cord as well, so.
Yeah.
Well, are the
Can always-
alpacas not going by the cenotaph?
Yes, the alpacas are going, they're
So
going
I
to
don't
pull
think
into
that-
Poppy Lane.
I don't think you want the ranch there as well.
Good point. Good point.
Jeff?
Rick?
Hi, yep. I just wanted to mention that we have a new BIA, we have a new tent. And I don't know if I've even told Trish that we ordered a new tent and we used Main Street money to get it. And so it says, if you turn it the one way, it says Municipality of West Perth. If you turn it the other way, it says Mitchell BIA. So, and it has your new logo on it. I don't even know if I've told you guys that we ordered that. So when
Where'd you hide it?
I'm quite certain it's come in and it's with the tents downstairs. So when you grab the tents on whatever day you grab them, grab the new one.
I think he grabbed them already.
Nothing
okay,
looked
and
new in there.
Okay, well, maybe it hasn't come in yet then. It's likely then it hasn't come in yet. I thought it came
If
in.
it's there, let me know and I'll grab it Friday
we will.
morning.
Yeah, it may very well not be in yet, but I thought it came in, so I'll check. But
I only
it looks
checked-
like your tent.
I only checked the closet that the tents are usually in and nothing in there looked new.
Yeah, it should be in there, so I'll double check to see if the new one came in or not. And Kristen will probably remind me of that tomorrow to check that.
So Jeff, I'm just gonna shoot an email, or unless Trish has already, but to Mr. Kramer about just getting something to dropped off on Friday to block off Poppy Lane. If
Okay,
that's
yeah,
sufficient.
If you can communicate with Mike directly.
I will do
on
that.
That's great.
Yep.
One that
Okay.
either you or Trish, okay? Thanks.
Okay.
We had talked about the alpacas going in Poppy Lane, but I don't think that we can just block that off. I think we ran into trouble a couple of years ago. We have to ask the post office since that's the entrance to their post office. So I need to call the postmaster and get that cleared again. And then I can touch base with Mike to get the roadblocks put up. If we can't do it that way, then my other thought was on St. Andrew, basically across from Skyline and Hometown there's parking spaces, so we could stick them there as well. And Ace is going to be donating some fencing to put up for them so that they can, I'm not very versed in alpacas, but I don't know if they get like stressed out at times, that they have asked if there was a spot that they could kind of pull them back away from the crowd if there were too many people. So Ace is going to donate some fencing for me to kind of put up and block them off a bit. Yes, Jeff?
Sorry.
It's okay.
I just want to mention that in front of, not Skyline, but what's the business? Hometown. I'd just be careful with those spots. 'Cause I know we've had a little conflict in the past about using those spots on Friday nights, a busy night for them. And certainly not, they wouldn't want the street closed. And I just would say be as respectful as you can about taking away their spots there, because we frustrated them in the past by assuming they would be okay with a whole bunch of people standing around in front of their business and buying their stuff, but they weren't too happy that we made that assumption.
So the parking spots closest to the post office is what I was thinking. Is that,
Okay.
that's a problem?
Probably fine. I think I'm just wanting you to be aware that that business, I know that their message to me, and they communicated it very clearly and multiple times, was that they have a lot of Friday night business where people stop and they run in and they run out, and they want the road open and not closed on a Friday evening.
Okay.
They didn't really like that idea, and they need they need their parking spots, and not to just make assumptions and take all their parking spots away. So I think you're probably fine. They are the municipality's parking spots. I just want to raise the concern with you from the past. And I get it, like no one thought to really communicate. We all thought it was a good thing, but they didn't see it the same way. So lesson learned.
Okay. So
If
I
you
can,
need- If you need any parking spots, because I'll be away on Friday, in front of Skyline, there'll be some extra spots there too.
okay. Do you know how much space you have? Like how much of that is yours?
Yeah, it kind of, if you look at, there's like a light post there. I
Yep.
think that's where it goes to, but you can pretty much eyeball it. So wherever that alleyway is, that separates it over to Hometown. Anything in front of my shop, and then I highly doubt that Floral Treasures will have any issues too. So that should be a good chunk of parking there if you need it. And there won't be any students that night. So
Okay. And Floral Treasures actually won't be open Friday night. It's just not going to happen this year. So,
yeah, so then you got lots of space.
okay.
I got to check, guys. I got to keep teaching here, but thanks for a good meeting.
Thanks, Dustin. So I think that's everything I have when it comes to the street party. We've got the Find the Gnome event going. The BI bucks are selling well. Street party is a couple days away. Again, there's Facebook posts every day, 2 a day. So please share. They're getting lots of shares and likes and a lot of attention, which is good. And the Christmas window display, so that closes December 10th. So I can go take pictures that night, get them up on the weekend for a week. Other than that, any other questions for me? Okay, thanks, guys.
Okay, so if there's anything else, when new business, any questions, concerns, additions, anything anyone wants to bring up before our next meeting? No, everybody ready for Friday night? All right, unfortunately, I will not be here. I apologize that I'm going to a ringette tournament and leaving Friday afternoon. So I apologize to everyone. Hopefully it all goes well. It looks like it. And thanks to some of the other BIA members who stepped up, since I'm not going to be there, and are going to man a table and stuff for me. So that's fabulous. All right, next meeting, January 5th, 6 p.m. 2022. Can you believe it? Crazy. Crazy. I feel like this is where we should have the sad year in review with the sad music, but we didn't really do anything. So not much in review. All right, then motion to adjourn if there's nothing else. Heather and Bert, and we're all in favor. We're adjourned. We'll just give Kristen a minute or two here.